Hey everybody, it's Kathy Homeyer of Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body and the Nutritional Energetics Program. Hi everybody. Today I do have a guest, and it is Sabine Weber. Hi Sabine.
Hi Kathy. Hi everyone.
Sabine actually lives near me as well, over near Dr. Karen. Some of you are familiar with Dr. Karen Can. Sabine doesn't live too far away, but like Karen, we never really see each other too often. But Sabine does food and spirit. Is that how you want to describe it, Sabine?
One thing that, one of the areas that I work in is that I'm a certified food and spirit practitioner, which is, if people wanted to look into that a little bit more, they could look at Dr. Deanna Minnick as Food and Spirit online. But what it does is it looks at the 7 systems of health. Looking at our root, our flow, our fire, our love, our truth, our insight and spirit, and there's a color component related to balancing our 7 aspects of health, and food. So there's color related to food, and also just the color itself.
Right. So yeah, we a lot of folks work with color, and I don't think directly related to food. We do chakras and we do colors, and I do light wave balancing. And by the way, if anybody is familiar with my light wave, I do have a separate show with Christy Warnick where we're both light. Hey, Christy, speak of the angel there. There's Christy. Hi, Christy. I'll send some light wave energy to everybody as we go through. And Sabine tells you about color and said, yeah, we talk about color. And we talk about eating the rainbow, but maybe you can give us a little bit more insight on how to connect that.
Yeah, I think the eating the rainbow started because people look at the certain phytochemicals in the foods. So each pigment is associated with a certain phytochemical that has a healing, disease preventing property, if you want to say that. But food and spirit looks a little bit farther into the color and how it balances our life. So, for example, red is associated with a root. So somebody who needs a balance in their root needs to become more grounded. We definitely focus on more red foods, also root vegetables and things, but red foods associated with that. The flow is associated with orange. So orange foods, but also wearing the color is also helps balance the aspect. So we look at, and we look at all the reasons. I look at areas with people where they may be out of balance and what they need to look at for food. And when we look at people's food, sometimes they eat the same color all the time, and it's associated with what's out of balance in their life.
Because
so it's really interesting.
Because they're eating it, or because they need it, Sabine? What? Or don't?
Well, it can be a little bit of both, because people could be underbalanced or over, or that aspect of their life is too extreme. Mm-hmm. Like they're so sometimes people, if you only eat red vegetables, you need to look, we need to look at the person's life and how they're living, and maybe they need to eat other vegetables. Green vegetables are associated with cardiovascular disease and the heart and opening the heart a little bit. So there's a lot of different personal qualities of someone that can be associated with an over under balanced area in their life. So an over under balanced root or flow or fire. Like for example, yellow foods are associated with the fire. People can be well overbalanced in fire, which is often typically type A personalities, eating too much carbohydrate. Yellow foods can be too starchy too, if you think about it, depending on which yellow foods you're looking at. So it's very interesting because we can look at how people are living and eating, and the diseases associated with that can also be related to the colors of the food too. So.
Yeah, oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've always, like I was saying, we do retreats with an art studio now, so I got to do a colors of food dinner. So I was just, basically saying, eat your colors, but certainly not knowing asking, hey, what color do you eat all the time? Or maybe that's something that people can start to become aware of. What colors do you tend to eat? We think it's just because maybe it's the food, per se, but there's also color involved.
Yeah. Yeah, color, and it could also be a reflection of what they need to work on in their life. Like if you look at somebody's plate and it's all, it's all white.
Mm-hmm.
It's like white fish, white rice, and cauliflower. What's missing? The flow can also be related to creativity and emotions, and so they could be missing love. They could be missing creativity. They might not be that grounded. So, there's a lot of different things, looking at the colors and how people eat and how to help them become more balanced and healthier by looking at things that maybe they can understand and relate to over, not everybody understands, the whole depth of maybe the chakra system or the aspects. So it's an easy way to show them how to balance their own life in a way that's tangible, and make a difference. And if they can categorize, they can see where they are and what's out of balance when you point it out that
way. Yeah. And do you ever kind of take this to like your family, say my family can deal with me a little bit in this respect, but maybe someone who's who's a mom or dad or whatever, and they're concerned about their kids. And I'm also thinking either looking at the family's plates if they get to choose what they eat, or thinking going through a buffet line. How fun would that be to look at people's plate once they go through a buffet line and you're at a wedding or they get to choose the foods. And look at people's plate and see if it's a mix of colors or if it's just a color. How fun would that be?
Yeah. But analyzing plates, it is very interesting in that sense. Definitely, yeah. You can learn a lot about people by if you're working with someone, having them take pictures of their meals too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there an example? I always think kid related, even when my kids are older now, late teens, early 20s now. But I think, wow, if I went out to, dinner at a buffet, like say my daughter, who I don't see very often, can you give an example of that or anything along those lines you want to, expound on?
Well, if you're looking at, so if we want to think about, and people can pull this up sometimes. I don't know if people can see it at all. Can you see it all? Well, this is like the 7 systems of health, and it'll talk about. Can you see this on the screen?
A little bit, but if there's a website or I can put that up on the screen so they can.
Yeah, you could get it on Food and Spirit Professional or foodandspirit.com.
Okay.
Download that. But if you look at when you think about, I guess if you're looking at kids or if you're looking at adults, protein, and I'm trying to stick with color and not just the types of foods though too, because I may look at all different types of foods. But if somebody if there's orange foods are associated with flow, with creativity. So if somebody never eats any orange foods at all, that's something to think about their life, like what's missing. It's also associated with emotions. So that's what I find a lot with my clients though too, that there's that spark in their life that's missing, because that creativity and emotions bring a certain healing spark in someone's life. Outside of root is being very grounded, and fire is, your work ethic, your energy. So it's often related to stamina, energy, exercise, that type of thing. So a variety of colors would mean more that somebody is much more balanced in that sense. But so missing green is often an imbalance in love. So what's happening, and it often could be self-love, and that's often an issue that I might look at with a lot of clients too, is self-care and self-love. So you could be under in the love aspect, which means you could be very selfish, or there's usually two different types of personalities, very selfish to yourself, or it could be where you don't provide enough self-care and self-love. You're a giver. You take care of everybody else, and which takes so much from many people. So that's what I see a lot of, especially mothers who have been, all of a sudden, realize that they need to start taking care of themselves. They've given so much from themselves that aspect is often very out of balance.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So, so the colors really look at different things in that sense, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a question here from Marina saying, how many colors should we eat during meals?
Well, in general, it's good to get at least 3 to 5 different colors a day if you're thinking of basic health in general. But I guess you want to think about your meals as a whole. Like if you're using the same colors all the time, and you're not getting a variety, you're not getting purples and reds and greens, or you're always just eating green, so you're not only do you miss nutrients and phytochemicals, but you're also maybe missing that whole balance of all the aspects of life too. So I guess it's hard to tell with just one meal. It is interesting to analyze a meal, but if you're really looking at yourself as a whole, you want to think about, look at yourself through the whole day and think about, or the whole day or the whole week, and, are you getting red? Are you getting purple? Are you and those are some things to think about when you're shopping though too, having the different colors on hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know we well, all of a sudden I've got an echo. I hope that doesn't continue. And if it does, I'll put on headphones. I guess it stopped. That's crazy. Anyway, and in terms of, even though we have a restaurant here and I cook different things all the time, my family tends to eat the same types of meals all the time. We cook the same meals all the time. And I've never looked at it in colors. I'm pretty conscious of trying to get some pretty varied stuff, and my whole family is pretty good about eating different things. But that would, just by even listening to this, it would be fun to go to the grocery store now and just think in terms of maybe if you eat salads all the time, add more different colors to your salads at different time, or eat different root vegetables. I did a Color of Foods dinner the other day, and even saying, even if you only, crazy example, but if you only like carrots, there are different colors of carrots now. So it's really aside from any of the GMO or what they're doing to make them that way or whatever. Actually, I think orange carrots were actually the ones that were manufactured. Fun fact. I think the colored carrots were actually the original ones, and orange, something about that crazy. But yeah, going to the grocery store now and thinking color and style as well as, what your family likes to eat. It has have more meaning and fun to shopping, I guess, too. Yeah. Yep. So you have so you do the food and spirit consulting, and we'll put up your email so that if anyone wants to email you about that, they can. And then I just want to mention real quick too, you also, and then we'll go back to color, but you also have a store called Man and Beast, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Which is some of your higher end pet products, but more of your natural pet foods and whole food pet foods. So a lot of my clients, and I also have good supplements for pets and people, but so a lot of my clients who are looking at, being healthier themselves, they also look at the same reasons of being healthy for their pets too. Yeah. So it's interesting.
So do you do any consulting for pets as well as for their pets as well as for them?
Well, I will give them information, yes, but I don't actually do personal consulting yet for pets.
Yeah,
it's a learning process for myself too. But it's interesting because I've got a integrative and functional nutrition background, so a lot of the problems that I see people coming in with their pets are the same types of problems I've seen with my people. So they all have allergies and food intolerances and skin issues and autoimmune. I'm seeing so much autoimmune with animals, and so it's very interesting to see the correlation of what's happened with people and what's happening with pets now too.
Yeah. So people in general, or basically pets and owners kind of match each other? Is it just people in general?
Well, people in general, but I have seen that. I've seen a lot of parallel of, I know somebody, somebody might have some, inflammatory bowel gut issues themselves, and so does their pet. So it's kind of interesting, but, but then they're a little bit more, they're a little bit more motivated to help heal the pet too. So that's good. So yeah. I don't know if it's good. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
So Rena said she makes homemade food for their furry kids. Rena's also saying even eye issues from not getting the right nutrients. Yeah. So if you were going to give us a clue or a tip, either what you see more often, or something you find that's more important, or something that we can, except for maybe putting the colors on our plate. What else would you give us for tips in terms of food and color?
Think about your own health though too, because if you download this, you can think about, okay, what are the problems related to your health? So with the root, it's related to adrenal glands. With the flow, often our ovaries, our testes. With the fire, the pancreas. With the love, thymus and heart. With the truth, thyroid, your throat. With the insight, pituitary. With your spirit, your pineal gland. But so do you have nutritional? Do you have issues related to your endocrine, to your anatomy, to your it has physiological things. And some core issues might be, your safety, your creativity, your energy, your service, compassion, your voice, your intuition, your soul's purpose. So all those, so you can kind of think, where do you feel that you're out of balance, and maybe look at your own diet and say, well, I have thyroid issues, and things that are related to the truth, the throat chakra, or the throat aspect though too. Their foods can be, there is a color associated with it, but it's also, there's different nutrients that you can use too. Moist foods, aquamarine foods. It's difficult, but seaweed. Be big because it has the iodine in there. So there's different, if you download this chart, you can kind of think about it though too, in a bigger picture of looking at how food can heal you, not just by vitamins and minerals, but what's out of balance in your life, and what do you get too much of, or what do you get too little of. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Do you think that when you were saying like sometimes people eat the same color, do you think that coincides with food likes? Because I know even with my kids, food likes seem to change with the wind. So
Yeah.
do you see that coinciding with maybe eating the same color and not liking other foods, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's habitual. I think it's people not, you know, just thinking out of the box and trying to get creative to do other things. And that's that whole creativity part too. Um, because you actually have to think, to be creative with food, right? So you have to plan and you have to think and you have to look. And so it's that, why is that person only sticking with that food? And that's kind of a way of looking at their life and how they're living. Like, are you working 12 hours a day? You basically have no time to shop, so you eat a hamburger and a salad every night, something like that. It could be often when you work on someone's lifestyle, it'll change the way they're eating too, or you have to, they kind of have to. Everyone can get nutrition information. Everyone can get, download what's a healthy diet online, but the issue would be why, what's going on in that person's life that can that's preventing them from diversifying. And a lot of it might be really delving into, what's going on with their flow, with their fire, with their love aspect. Why aren't they spending time nourishing themselves? It's a lot about self-nourishment. So there's a lot of things that you can find out about yourself, about people, by using the food and spirit model.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Because I'm also thinking, I don't know if you saw some of the comments that I was posting up, Sabine. Rena says, so fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing this. Cheryl saying she'll be looking at food differently now, in a different way now. So that's always cool. Because I was also thinking of people who, have to go to work and don't have time to bring their lunch or something. You go out to get lunch, and I guess unless you're getting salads that you can make, you have very limited colors to choose from if you're ordering over the counter.
Right.
So people might want to, even if they know they're not making their whole lunch or something. And I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here. If you're going and knowing that you're not getting too many colors, or if you're always going to work and ordering from certain places, if you get lunch that way or dinner or whatever, they might want to think of augmenting with color, even if they're not making a whole meal, somehow augmenting different colors to expand their color palette. I love the palette and color palette and food palette, right?
Yeah. And you could think of, okay, just if you can bring like one bag of vegetables a day, just to supplement, one day bring red peppers, another day bring, something orange, another day, and vegetables and fruits. So you could supplement it that way. If you don't have time for meal preparation that much, but you can at least do one thing,
Right.
like that, get a different color like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's 7 basic chakras, basic colors. I mean, you could go a color a day if you were doing some of the basics, maybe if you forget, or maybe put that into your psyche, So yeah, and Rena's saying, and why shouldn't our food be as beautiful as art? I've been looking at the food mandalas that people are making now. They are gorgeous. And that's kind of, even I was thinking even for, a family activity or something to do differently at dinner time is to, just Google it. Google food mandalas. They're gorgeous, and have the ingredients there, and then make the mandala before you eat it. It's just another way of mindful eating as well. And if you're making it really pretty, and you could make them all, 1 or 2 colors, but if you get a lot of colors in there, it'd be a little bit more mindful, and they look gorgeous. That's what I'm going to do during for meals and for wellness retreats here now, is do mandalas and colors, just as a mindful exercise for food.
But that's also really key, in addition to mindfulness, into just creating that bridge, that relationship with food, because when you invest in creating something that's special, it's that, you feel so much better about yourself. You feel so much better about nourishing yourself with that food.
Mm-hmm.
And you take back that energy that you put into the food, that positive energy that you put into that food, creating it. So that's a huge component when you look at how being creative with food can be can heal you in that sense and be that much more nourishing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. George is saying, I'll put this up too. He said he's adopted drinking teas that way by color to support his chakras. So I didn't really even think of, I tend to probably drink the brown or green teas, I guess, and chagas. Yeah. And I never really think of tea that way, or beverages. So,
the Buddha teas have the seven chakras. So they have a whole different, they're kind of neat. They have a whole different, each formulation for each chakra.
Yeah. And I suppose smoothies have all their different colors. I know that, you can make a different color beverage that way as well. Smoothies and that such.
That's always a good way, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a few minutes more. I don't know if anybody has questions in the chat box here. I've been trying to keep track of you guys here. Any other questions? If you do want to email Sabine, I will put up her email again, which is adknutrition@frontier.com.
Yeah.
You can email.
They can also look at the website if they want to. But I forgot about that.
Which is what, Sabine?
AdirondackNutritionConsulting.com.
Okay. So we go www.Adirondack spelled out.
Yeah, it's spelled out. AdirondackNutritionConsulting.com.
Where am I? Consulting. Is that going up on the screen correct? Okay. If that's right. I don't know how I type it. Okay, good. So that's right. The website, yep, or you can email her as well. So, Sabine, thank you so much for coming on. This was fun. And, I've been, like I said, I just even, you learn so much when you think about, everything a different way, of course. But, we think about food and nutrition, and we know the colors, and we know colors, and there's chakras. But, this has been a really cool way to look at it. And, folks are very appreciative. So, thanks for coming on. Any other quick tips or?
Well, I think, in relation to what you were just saying at the end, the more positive energy that we can put in our food, the better it is for us. So if we're starting, if this just gives you some tips to look at food in a different light and in a more nourishing way, that's just going to translate into more positive behaviors too. So, yeah.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone.
Okay. Well, thanks, Sabine. Nice chatting with you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
All righty.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for coming in. And there's some other shows coming up. If you guys look at Akashic Academy Facebook page, every day they place in the shows for the day. And you can find the replays on Akashic Academy as well. So thanks for coming in, guys. Bye-bye.